Good evening, I'm Mandy Noell. We first followed this story last night when neighbors contacted our station upset over that big mess. So that's when we went straight over to local leaders for answers. Good evening, I'm Mandy Noell. We heard the chaos on our newsroom scanners this morning. That's when we sent 27 First News reporter Amanda Smith. Recovery efforts continue in northern Trumbull County after Saturday's storm. The big issue right now is trying to figure out how much it's going to cost to make much needed repairs. We begin tonight with weather. We're tracking some serious storms on the radar. The last thing we want is more flooding in our area. About 100 people showed up tonight in Kinsman for an update on what's happening with getting the dam and the road fixed. New at 6, humane agents with Animal Charity helped rescue a dog that was not responsive because of heat stroke. An interesting side note to that story was the Packard brothers who introduced air conditioning in cars back in 1939. Big thanks to them right now. Most of us have the AC cranked up just about as high as it goes. It is hot. Let's get over to Chief Meteorologist Paul Wetzel with
for August.
I was just going to say, welcome August. A lot of kids are going to be happy. I'm sure they're cramming in the pool time. Just a couple weeks left before it's back to school.
Getting a little summer out there.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Well, you are only as old as you feel. It's a saying that rings true for one local man. How even at 100 years old, he's still keeping it all fun and games. Brought up a good point with those nightly lows. I didn't even think about it until we left last night at 11:30. It was really chilly out there, and I wish I had a jacket. We're going to need one again tonight.
Yep, it's comfortable. Give those air conditioners a little bit of a break.
Yeah, not too bad. A lot of people like to sleep with their windows open. So
I'm one of those people.
Yeah,
yep.
There you go. Thanks, Greg. Yep. Well, a sports facility like no other is taking shape in Newcastle. Trash troubles, a large pile of garbage along a street in Youngstown cleared away today. Good evening, I'm Mandy Noell. We first followed this story last night when neighbors contacted our station upset over that big mess. So that's when we went straight over to local leaders for answers. It happened at a home along East Dewey. Today our news crews were there as the trash was cleaned up. Here's 27 First News reporter Amanda Smith. Youngstown police and the Mahoning County coroner are investigating what could be the city's 13th homicide of the year. Police were called to a home on East Philadelphia Avenue around 12:30. Family members found a male victim just inside the front door and called 911. It appeared he had been shot. At last check, the victim's name has not been released. A Mahoning County judge says former Youngstown Mayor Chuck Samarone will get to have his own trial and not be lumped in with others in a local corruption case. Samarone is accused of taking bribes in exchange for steering contracts to a friend. He was indicted along with Valley developer Dominic Marchionda and former city finance director Dave Bazanich. While the others are being tried together, Samarone wanted to be tried separately. He returns to court next month. Now to Storm Team 27 coverage. Right now the clouds have moved in across our area and we're tracking the chance for a small shower here and there. Here's meteorologist Craig Seibert. Dozens of cats rescued from an abandoned home in Youngstown today. We first broke the story on our website, WKBN.com. 27 First News senior reporter Jerry Ricciuti talked with neighbors and learned what's likely to happen next. UAW Local 1112 President Dave Green is taking a new job at a General Motors plant in Bedford, Indiana. Green confirmed the move to First News this morning. He leaves August 19th. Green says he made the decision after weighing the needs of his family. The job is also close to some other members of his family. Green says about 75 workers from GM's Lordstown plant have moved or are moving to that plant in Indiana. UAW Vice President Tim O'Hara will take over the union local operations after August 19th. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine opened the Ohio State Fair this morning in Columbus. He toured the grounds with his wife and grandchildren. They stopped for a cream puff and then went to visit the livestock barns. The governor says the fair is a great place to learn about Ohio. DeWine ended his tour at the Taste of Ohio Cafe, where his wife Fran will be holding cooking demonstrations with kids during the fair. The Ohio State Fair runs through August 4th. More local coverage ahead at 6, a disaster declaration in Kinsman. Some roads could be closed for months and the repairs come with a pretty big price tag. That's next at 6. And a football family, a father and son, share their love of coaching with us. What they believe is the most important part of the game is brand new at 6. The Save-A-Lot in the Boardman Plaza continues to work toward opening after severe flooding damaged the store in May. Owners say they're bringing in new equipment this week. The store was severely damaged and it's been closed ever since that flooding. Save-A-Lot was set to reopen in July, but that's been moved to the beginning of August. Tonight we're seeing more of the damage caused by this weekend's heavy rains in Kinsman. This as Trumbull County commissioners declare a local emergency. Trumbull County reporter Nadine Grimley learned how long repairs could take and how much it could cost. Let's look at that weekend forecast. It's looking great.
Yeah, we have a lot of events going on. The Greek
Yeah.
Fest, Youngstown, Mount Carmel Festival going on, so good weekend to get out and enjoy it.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thanks, Craig.
Yep.
Well, new at 6, football family. One is a coaching legend in the Valley, and his son is just getting started. The special bond they share on and off the field. And preparations are underway for the 173rd annual Canfield Fair, and there are some exciting additions. New at 6, the local clothing company that'll be supplying the official souvenirs. Right now at 6, football family. For the past 3 decades, veteran head coach Jeff Bayek has paced the sidelines. He is widely known as one of the best coaches in Northeast Ohio, and now his son is adding to that legacy. 27 First News sports reporter Chase Evans has the story. And there will be plenty to crow about at the 173rd Canfield Fair. Today, the board of directors previewed some of the new events, partnerships, and entertainment. In addition to the annual demolition derby and truck and tractor pull, people can check out Pentatonics on Sunday, September 1st. Comedian Gabriel Iglesias will perform on Labor Day. The fair also announced a new partnership with YOUNGSTOWN Clothing Company, which is now the official souvenir provider. Proceeds will go to the Canfield Fair Foundation's. And we just wrapped up an interview with Struthers Police Chief telling us a little bit more about what happened here tonight. It was one of these homes on 5th Street, and 5th Street you can see is still closed down because there is still an active situation happening inside of one of these homes. He tells us about 6:33 tonight they got a call. A 48-year-old man who is the suspect inside this house was in some sort of domestic dispute with a 16-year-old girl. It turned into a physical altercation of some sort. They called their mother. She showed up to the house. She had been at work. They had also called police, so police met them here. I think we do have some video. If we could go ahead and roll that if we're still on the live shot. The police chief tells us she was bleeding. She had some type of head wound. They heard a shot at that point. There are negotiators here. The police chief tells us they're talking with the suspect, going back and forth with him. He's nervous right now. He's scared right now. The chief says that he is concerned about how much trouble he's going to be in. We do know the 16-year-old girl, the mother, her brother, they went to St. E's to have the 16-year-old treated for her injuries. Again, he says was some type of head wound. She was bleeding a little bit from her head. The suspect is still in the home, that 48-year-old man, the mother of the boyfriend of the mother, talking with the SWAT negotiators. They say he's asking for some cigarettes and sending messages to his mom, kind of wanting to know how much trouble he's now going to be in. The last thing that the chief said was, I asked if the 13-year-old boy was okay. He said, yeah, I mean, he played an integral role in helping to get the suspect off of his sister. So we're going to start editing some of that interview for you. They'll have that for you on First News this morning. For now, I'm live in Struthers. Mandy Noell for WKBN 27 First News. Good evening, I'm Mandy Noell.
And I'm Stan Boney. Tonight we hear from the father of Mark Mason Jr., the young boy stabbed to death Monday night in Lawrence County's Union Township.
The man charged with killing him will be in court tomorrow. The story is disturbing. The details are hard to hear. Remembering the 8-year-old described as a hero is our top story tonight at 11.
My son's a victim, yes, but my son's a hero. And I want my son remembered as a hero, not a victim.
Mark Edward Mason Jr., beloved brother and son.
I want everybody to know that my son fought. My son fought him. He just wasn't strong enough. How can an 8-year-old fight a 43-year-old man with a knife?
That 43-year-old police say is Keith Burley, released from prison in March where he served 20 years after pleading guilty to third-degree murder. According to children who saw it happen, Burley said, "Die, die," while stabbing Mark Jr. with a pink camo knife. This is video from Tuesday morning after Burley fled Union Township to Youngstown. U.S. Marshals picked him up on the street. Our crews were there as he was cuffed. Mark Mason Sr. says his 8- and 7-year-olds fought back.
My kids did everything I taught them to do. I told them if anything like that ever happened, Marky, you protect your mom and you protect your brother. And Matthew, you run and get help. And don't you stop running until you find somebody.
Monday night, there was a domestic dispute over cell phones between Burley and the boy's mother. Police say Burley took a car with the 2 boys inside and ended up at this house where things got violent.
But you tried. And you got away and you threw a chair at him. I'm so proud of you.
State police say that's what Matthew did. Troopers say Burley chased Matthew but couldn't catch him. He ran until he found an adult and told him his brother was hurt. Mark Jr. was dead a short time later. His father says he was a strong, brave boy who fought back.
It cost my son his life, but he fought.
Tonight, his father describes Mark Jr. as smart for his age and says he's missing all the small things.
He loved playing outside. And I never thought I'd miss his whining. But yesterday I missed his whining so bad.
What would he whine about?
Everything.
Mark Jr. leaves behind 6 siblings, all under the age of 9. As for Burley, there's an extradition hearing tomorrow to send him back to Lawrence County. Since this is his second homicide charge, and since Mark was only 8, he could face the death penalty. The Lawrence County District Attorney will decide.
Hurt, crushed, like he's young. He just turned 18 January 10th.
Family members devastated after learning that 18-year-old is gone. Good evening, I'm Mandy Noell.
I'm Stan Boney. We begin tonight in Mercer County in the tiny borough of Wheatland, where today family members were crushed to learn that 18-year-old Isaac Green did not make it out of the Shenango River alive.
Officials tell us he got there after running from police following a car chase earlier this week. It's our top story tonight at 11. Search and rescue crews spent the day on the Shenango River in Wheatland near the Kelly Pipe Company. 18-year-old Isaac Green's family waited for him to turn up, but this afternoon the coroner arrived.
And I wish there was a different outcome for this, but obviously this is God's plan.
Crime brought police to the banks of the Shenango River a few nights ago. Gunshots fired from a car which police soon determined was stolen from Farrell. The suspects wouldn't pull over. Several departments chased them from Farrell to Wheatland. 3 suspects crashed the car, ran, and jumped into the river.
He did not run around getting in trouble. He hung around with people that got in trouble. He hung around with the wrong crowd.
Shortly after the chase, Hermitage police officers arrested 18-year-old Travis Brandt on the far side of the river. The other 2 suspects, Green and another, were not found. Regardless of his involvement, Green was loved by his family and recently celebrated the birth of a daughter.
And she's 6 months, so what is she gonna grow up without a dad now? Like, that's a hurtful feeling.
The family says they knew about the crash. They asked for help from authorities searching for Green because he didn't know how to swim. Mercer County District Attorney Peter Acker told us on the scene police thought the other 2 made it out of the river. But today when they spoke with Brandt, they realized Green might have had trouble. His body was spotted on the far side of the bank.
He was kind of quiet, he was funny, he liked to crack jokes, but he was a good person.
Green's cousin DAWON Miller has a request for anyone who sees this.
To the community, I really want you guys to pray for my family right now in this time of need because we really need it.
District Attorney Acker says charges haven't been filed on that 3rd suspect. Police have not released his name, but the search is ramping up. He has been seen in the area, and anyone helping him avoid police is looking at charges too. The coroner will do an autopsy on Green to determine his official cause of death.